Hi guys, in this video we're going to cover how to form and solve linear word problems. So this example is taken from the Walker book. We have 9 people going to a show, adult tickets are $15 and children's tickets are going to be $7. The total cost was $87. Form and solve an equation to find out the number of adults and children who went to the show. So looking at this, I'm going to have to find out a value for adults, a value for children. And so I'm going to have a variable for A and a variable for C. What else do we know? We know that the total cost is $87. And one thing that's easy to forget because it's right at the start is that we have a total of 9 people going. Okay, and that's actually going to be important. So if we think about what A and C would represent then, we've got the costs of an adult ticket and the costs of children's tickets, but we need to solve for the number of adults and number of children. So A is actually probably going to represent the number of adults, and C will be the number of children. Excuse my scribble, I struggle to write with this tablet. So if that's the case, we can form an equation where we have $15 per adult and $7 per child by writing it like this. So we have $15, 15 times A, which is the number of adults, so $15 per adult, plus $7 per child. So C is the number of children, so $7 per each children, 7 times C. And that all equals $87. That's the total cost. But when we look at this equation, we have both an A and a C as a variable, two unknown values, but only one equation. And we know that we can only solve one variable in one equation. So we're actually going to have to think about how we could rearrange this equation to be able to get rid of one of these variables. I either have to get rid of the A or the C variable. And this is where this 9 people thing comes in. Okay, we know there's 9 in total. So we have a number of adults, and the number of children relative to that number of adults is like 9 people minus the number of adults. And conversely, we can also look at the C value, like we have the C value number of children, plus we also have 9 minus the number of children, which is the number of adults. And so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to rewrite this equation so I can get rid of one of these values by I'm going to use adults twice. So I could rewrite this equation as we have 15 times adults for the number of adults times their price plus $7 times total number minus the number of adults. And that equals 87. Okay, so now I've gotten rid of that C variable here and replaced it with the difference between the total number and the number of adults that we have. So now we have 2 A's in here, and I'll be able to simplify and group them and solve this equation. So the next step would be, of course, to expand out these brackets. So I have 15A plus 7 times 9 minus 7A, 87. Okay, now I can group my like terms here. So 15A minus 7A is 8A plus 63 is 87. Okay, we'll get rid of the 63 by taking it away from both sides. We have 8A equals 24. Nice numbers there. So we can divide this 8 now to get rid of that because it's multiplying. And so we have A is equal to 3. And so we need to remember now, what does my A value represent? We've decided that A represents the number of adults. We have 3 adults. We need to find out the number of adults and the number of children. So from here, we could just quickly say, well, 9 minus 3 is 6. So there's 6 children and 3 adults. But we'll also quickly solve for C by substituting A out. So if we have our original equation down the bottom there again, we have a 15A, which is 3, plus 7C equals 87. Okay, so 15.3 is 45 plus 7c equals 87. Now, if I take away 45 from both sides, I'm left with a 7c here and a 42 here. Now we can divide both of those by 7, and c is equal to 6. So we were right. We have the total number of adults, and you would just write adults equals 3, and children equals 6. Now, in the exam, you probably don't have time necessarily to solve this at the same time as solving the first set of equations, but if you're unsure about your final answer, you could, of course, substitute it back in and go through the other side if you've got time. You can always come back and check it later. But don't forget to actually answer the question, okay? They asked the number of adults and children, and so you need to actually answer the question at the end as well.